Hello, I'm the 10-minute English teacher. Let's get you exam ready. Today, we're thinking about A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, and I'm going to be helping you to write any essay. Before we get going, don't forget to like and subscribe. There are plenty of things on the channel to help you understand the text like an expert. Okay, let's learn how to write any essay. First thing we need to think about is what we actually need to know in the exam. We need to know what happens in the novel, so understanding all those key moments is important. Check out the playlist for help if you do need some further guidance. We also need to be able to recall 20 to 30 key quotes without looking. I have made a tutorial that helps you to be able to recall 25 quotes without looking. Check that out on the playlist. Here's an example of a key quote. Scrooge says in stage 4, if the courses be departed from, the ends will change. So there's an example of a key quote. When we've done that, we need to learn how to structure the essay, and that's what we're here for today. So what are we actually going to be asked? You're going to be asked something like, how is family presented in A Christmas Carol, with a page from the text and extract to get you going. Just look for the keyword in the question. You'll need to pick about 6 moments where the keyword features in the wider text to explore. So you'll use 2 maybe from the extract, and you'll maybe choose 6 or 7 from your memory. And you need to mention the keyword in every paragraph. The keyword here is family. So every paragraph that you would write would need to have that word in it. Okay, possible keywords for your essay. Here are the characters that you could be asked to write about. You could be asked to write about Scrooge. The Cratchits gives you a chance to explore the wider text and a number of different characters. You could be asked about the ghosts. You could be asked about Fred, which would be challenging. He doesn't feature a lot in the text and doesn't have a lot to say. You could be asked about Bob, or you could be asked about minor characters. And to be fair, if I was asked about minor characters, I'd probably select Bob anyhow. So those are the key characters that you could be asked to write about. The exam should be asking you to a question that allows you to be able to think about the wider text. So ultimately, some of those characters are easier to and more accessible than others when it comes to the idea of having to write about all the different things that happen in the wider text. Here are some keywords that you could be asked about in regards to different themes. So we've got characters or themes. It will either be a character that is the focus of the essay, or it will be a theme. Now, when you look at this big list here, it seems a bit overwhelming, but let's actually just break this down a little bit and think about how simple it is. If we think about greed, money, wealth, gain, class, poverty, well, they're all about wealth, rich and poor. They're all about the idea of money and greed. So they're all similar. They're all the same essay, effectively. If we look at this list here, kindness, good, charity, generosity, hatred, evil, ignorance, well, they're all asking you about right and wrong, good and bad. So ultimately, effectively, any of those keywords is asking you to write a very similar essay. If we look at this list, we've got family, love, marriage, relationships, loneliness, isolation, childhood. Well, they're all about your relationships that you have with others and the idea of having others in your life. So they're asking you to write very similar essays. All of those keywords are very closely aligned. This list here, sadness, happiness, Christmas, redemption, consequence, realisations, change, they're all about feelings, and they're all ultimately about the way that Scrooge goes from one particular character to another because he understands the message of Christmas. You're going to be asked to write about either a key character or a theme in the text, and the likelihood is that your essay theme and question is in front of you here. Now, knowing 25 key quotes by heart is really important. Here is that key quote that I shared with you earlier. Scrooge says in stage 4, to the ghost of Christmas yet to come, if the courses be departed from, the ends will change. It's a big moment of realisation for Scrooge. Now, the reason why I really like this quote is because you can use it for a number of different purposes. Now, I've just taken a line from that list of keywords that I showed you. So if we're asked about Scrooge, well, Scrooge says this, that fits. If we're asked about greed, he's understood the consequences of his greed. If we're asked about kindness, he's wanting a second chance to be a kinder person. If we're asked about family, he realises the impact that shunning family has had on his life. And if we're talking about sadness, he wants to have a happier life for himself, but he also wants to have an opportunity to impact the Cratchit family. He's just witnessed the death of Tiny Tim in the future just before this moment. Now let's think about how we actually structure that essay. You're going to write an introductory paragraph. I'm going to help you with that in a moment. Then you're going to be using PEA to write paragraphs using 2 quotes from the extract at least. After that, you're going to think about, I'd say, 6 memory moments if you can. And then at the end, if you get the time, write a paragraph about what we and all the Victorians learn from that keyword, that theme or that character that you're asked about to write your essay. So here is my guide to writing an introductory paragraph. You can explain what happened to Dickens as a child. His parents couldn't pay their debts and they were sent to prison. He ended up working in a factory. So that shaped Charles Dickens, and the writing that he was responsible for in his adult life was very much moulded by those experiences. So explain what happened to Dickens as a child. Once you've done that, in the same paragraph, explain what Dickens wrote novels to change about Victorian society. And then at the end of this paragraph, you can link the keyword to those purposes. Here's an example of what that looks like. Dickens experienced hardship in his childhood when his parents were sent to Marshalsea debtors' prison, and for a time he had to work in a blacking factory. These experiences made Dickens passionate about social justice, so he wanted to change society. As a writer of didactic fiction, Dickens wrote literature to change the attitudes of his middle-class Victorian readers to the working poor. Family is an important theme in A Christmas Carol because Dickens wanted his readers to value money over wealth and gain. So that would be my introductory paragraph if I was asked to write about family, or indeed wealth or gain. Now, if you want to take it further, choose a key word from this list and you could start to plan your essay. How would you write that introduction, and what big moments would you use? And also, what might the extract be? This is a really good way of you thinking ahead before the exam. Okay, check out the other videos on my channel. I'll continue to add content. Feel free to ask something you'd like to see me cover in the comment section. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share, and keep revising.